Hello everyone and welcome to part 1 of a 6-part video series that I'm doing to help us prepare for the 2019 Women's World Cup. We know our 6 groups of 4 teams each for the World Cup field at this point. So today I want to start with Group A in this video. We're going to go through all 4 teams in Group A, which are France, Norway, Nigeria, and Korea Republic. So I want to take a look at these teams today, talk about how they qualified for the World Cup, their star players, their head coach, and my expectations moving forward. So without further ado, let's take a look at Group A. Our first team, France, enjoyed automatic entry into the World Cup thanks to being the host, so no arduous qualification process for the French, but they have kept busy. They won the She Believes Cup on American soil back in 2017, beat England and the United States in that competition. Last year, in terms of 2018, they played 10 matches in total. Lost just one of those 10 to England. That was 4-1. They also beat some good teams, though. Beat Brazil, Australia, Canada, and Germany. Also tied the United States in 2018. So they had a pretty good year. They've stayed in form. Also beat fellow Group A participant Nigeria 8-0. So although they didn't have to go through that process, they're still pretty sharp right now. The head coach for France, CORRINE, DIACRE, just hired in August of 2017, so she hasn't been at the helm for a major tournament yet, but she is the 3rd most capped player all time in France history. 121 caps for this player, 14 goals for Les Bleus, including a goal that helped take them to their maiden World Cup appearance in 2003. She's got football in her blood, just 44 years of age. I think she's a good coach for France. In terms of star players, we got one of the best in the world here for France, Amandine, a 29-year-old defensive midi who's played for all the best clubs in the world, Lyon, PSG, won an NWSL title in 2017 here in the States with the Portland Thorns. I love watching her. There's such an ease and fluidity to her game. She can pretty much do anything on the field, anchors this team in the middle. She's the heartbeat. And then what I love about this France squad in particular, they have talent and leadership at all 3 levels. Then in the back, you have Wendie, Renard, and they don't get as physically intimidating and as towering as Renard at 6'2". She is a bully on the back line. And then up top, you got Eugenie, Sommer, who's a clinical striker. 153 goals for Lyon in her club career, 67 more for France. Like I said, a very balanced team. They've got talent and leadership at all 3 levels. My expectations for France, they've got a lot of great players in their late 20s, right in the prime of their careers. They've got home field advantage. Their fans are still going to be in a frenzy coming off the 2018 Men's World Cup success in Russia. I think a successful World Cup for France will be to win the World Cup. Certainly it'll be a disappointment if they do not. That's the standard. They are one of 3 or 4 teams that can absolutely hold this trophy at the end of the tournament. The second team in Group A, Norway, and they have never missed out on qualifying for a World Cup. That continued this cycle around because they won a very tough European qualifying group that included the European champions, Netherlands. Came down to the final match day. The Norwegians were behind the Dutch in the standings, needing a win to avoid the playoff route. And the final game was in Oslo against the Netherlands. And this Norway team, they scored 2 goals in the first 6 minutes of that match. Ended up winning it 2-1 to jump over the Netherlands in the group. 7 wins and just 1 defeat in their 8 qualifying matches. Norway's head coach, Martin SJOGREN, even younger than the French coach DIACRE at just age 41, and he takes over for a living legend in Even Pellerud, who helped Norway claim their only World Cup title back in 1995. But SJOGREN, he's the boss now. He was hired in December of 2016. Got off to a rocky start with Norway just laying an egg at Euro 2017. They went 0-3 in that competition. Didn't even net a single goal. Gave up 4. It looks like though SJOGREN has kind of got the train back on the rails though, thanks to their large success with European World Cup qualifying. Now the star player situation for Norway, very interesting here. I want to say 23-year-old striker Hegerberg, but the thing is she likely won't play at this World Cup, unfortunately. Hasn't been with the international team since Euro 2017 due to disputes with her home federation about how women's football is treated in Norway. She's been very outspoken and upfront with how the Norwegian Federation has to do better in terms of offering equal opportunities and treatment to female players as they do their male counterparts. So if she doesn't play, the entire world loses out because she is just jaw-dropping, electric. Like I said, won the 2018 Ballon d'Or, So she's amazing, a total artist on the pitch. I just don't know if we're going to see her, unfortunately, in France. So if she's not there, I'm going MAREN Mjelde for my star player for Norway, a 29-year-old defensive midfielder who can play a lot of different positions, can also play a center back or center attacking mid if need be. But this Norway team, they've got a lot of talent. Mjelde has been a stalwart in that midfield position for a while now, for 12 years. And she's got outstanding vision, and I really like her dead ball skills. My expectations for Norway, I expect them to finish firmly in second place in this group. Their all-time record against France is actually deadlocked. They each have 3 wins apiece and 4 draws in that rivalry. But France just a little bit better overall, especially with no Hegerberg. I think France has more talent, but Norway can still go far. They're definitely going to make it through to the knockout stage, and I think a great World Cup for Norway would be if they reached the semifinals. Moving to the third team in Group A, Nigeria, and like Norway, they're one of just a few teams that has made every single World Cup finals in the women's game. This Nigerian team, though, they really had a taste for the theatrics this qualifying campaign. They finished second to South Africa in their group, and then in back-to-back knockout stage games, they had 0-0 draws. First one against Cameroon, and then the rematch against South Africa, won both of those knockout games in a penalty shootout. So it was just crazy scenes for the Nigerians. They win the African Cup of Nations, though, for the 9th time in the end. And, you know, Africa is a pretty easy federation to qualify from, especially in the women's game. But nonetheless, here we are, the Super Falcons booking their 8th ticket to the World Cup finals. Nigeria's head coach, actually a Swede, Thomas Dennerby. He is one of the newest coaches who will be at the World Cup, just took charge in January of 2018. Has a good resume. He's 59 years old, coached the Swedish women's team from 2005 to 2012, guided Sweden to a 3rd place finish at the 2011 World Cup in Germany. Very experienced, has a background in scouting, and seems like he has a good eye for tactics. I think that bodes really well for Nigeria. Nigeria's star player, Asisat Oshoala, a very exciting 24-year-old striker. I believe she is ready to make a name for herself at this World Cup in the summertime. She's already a 3-time African Footballer of the Year, winning that award in 2014, 2016, and 2017. She exploded on the scene at the Under-20 World Cup in 2014, won the Golden Boot, the Golden Ball, and helped Nigeria reach the final in that competition. So everything about Oshoala is golden. Keep an eye on her this summer. She's got the speed, she's got the power. Be on the lookout for her. Expectations for Nigeria, I think they can cause an upset if the matchup is right. Personally, I see them finishing 3rd in this group, though, and fighting in the knockout stage. I think the Super Falcons will be delighted if they can reach the quarterfinals. The final team that will be duking it out in Group A, Korea Republic, who finished 5th in Asian qualifying, but had one of the best defensive records in all of World Cup qualifying. In 8 matches, only conceded 1 goal, at the same time scoring 30 themselves, so a pretty good record there. They did hold Australia and Japan both to 0-0 draws, so they had some impressive moments for sure, but it was a pretty easy road for them. In the end, all they had to do to qualify for the World Cup was to defeat the Philippines in a playoff there. They ended up doing that 5-0, so not much trouble for the Koreans. The head coach for South Korea, 57-year-old Yoon DEOK-YEO. He's been at the helm of Korea since 2013, and he's hoping the old adage, defense wins championships, bodes well this summer in France, because he's a former defender, played for the men's Korean side at the 1990 World Cup, and he's got defense in his blood. He's turned this Korean squad into an, at times, impenetrable fortress. Just 1 goal given up, like I said, throughout Asian qualifying. I think that's really where he makes his money, on the defensive side of the ball. Their star player, I don't know as much about her as I know about the other star players I've talked about today, but nonetheless, Ji Soo-yoon, a very good 27-year-old midfield player. She has racked up over 100 appearances for the national team, made her first senior-level appearance at age 15. That is Mallory Pugh-esque stuff right there, so I'll give her props for that. She's a great dribbler, though, good player in tight spaces, and has played at her club side Chelsea since 2014. My expectations for the Koreans, I expect them to bunker down. They're going to park the bus, pray for some 0-0 results against the better teams. They're not going to play a very exciting brand of football. I don't think they get out of the group, but I believe a successful tournament for them would be to qualify for the knockout stage. All right, so that's a quick look at Group A. Hopefully you learned something moving forward for the Women's World Cup of 2019. Be on the lookout for parts 2 through 6 of this little preview series as well. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the Snowman Sports Media. And if not, thanks. Have a great day and cheers.